Today I am going to share that experiment that I have been doing for the last few months. It is the experiment of the grains, put it in the I love you jar and I hate you jar. The inspiration came last year. A friend of mine showed me the experiment that of love jar and hate jar. When I saw the result of it, two distinctive differences, it was just awestruck. Wow, I'm going to do that on my own. So that's how I came about. So on December the 1st, 2020, I poured equal amount of brown rice, 10 tablespoonfuls of brown rice in I love you jar, 10 tablespoonfuls of brown rice on I hate you jar. Put the labels there, both, and nicely place it on the windowsill. Time passed by, nothing happened. Occasionally I glanced, I love you jar, I hate you jar, but I didn't pour any emotional intensity or nothing. Not even to recite the words. I just left it. Figure that, okay, I love you jar, label there, I hate you jar, the label there, so that will do the job. So that's the way I did. So well over 3 months passed by. I saw there's no activity from the grains. Well, the friend visited me and then told me that I have to put cooked rice in it to ferment it. Oh, okay. So now that both rice in each different jars, I don't want to mix them together because they are going to get confused, right? The love and hate is mixed. So that's not a good idea to cook them. So what I did was I poured a boiled water, equal amount, into the I love you jar and I hate jar. And I left it there. And of course, meantime, after that, I didn't pour any intensity filling either. I just left it there. Well, 1 week later, this is what I saw. I love you jar. They were bubbling with fermentations, but I saw many white blossoms in it. When I saw the I hate you jar, I saw bubbles, but also their fermentation shows a dark green colors on it. Now, about a week later, already distinctive result. Love you jar is just the white color in it, and I hate you jar, they have this blue, dark blue color in it. Wow, that is interesting. Well, another week passed by. So 2 weeks after I pour the hot water in it, I look at the jars. As you can see, the I love you jar is all more white blossoms. When I look at I hate you jar, I just gasped it because they showed so much of green dark manifestations. It's so bigger, so much bigger, and anybody can see the extreme differences between two jars. Now this is mainly put the label on it, right? I didn't pour any emotions in it. So what if you pour intense emotions when you feel love someone, hold the jar and then I love you, I love you, I love you. Now, and then on other times when you feel intense negativity that you don't like someone, you hold a jar of I hate you jar, right? And pour that intensity in it. I'm sure these grains, cooked rice, will absorb the differences of the words and vibrations, they will manifest it so very differently and according to the words and emotions, right? Now, I surmise over 3 months when it was in the jar that has been dried rice, they have absorbed the love jar, the grains absorb the love. The hate jar absorb the hate word, the hate vibrations. They have been absorbing the vibrations. But when the circumstances become favorable, which means when I pour the hot water in them, then they start fermenting it. They start to show manifestations on both emotions. One is love, one is hate. Now, if you can go further, create so many jars of each emotions that you like to experience. For instance, create a jar of peace, jar of anger, jar of thank you, jar of depression, jar of compassion, jar of, I don't know, whatever the negativity that you sometimes experience. Sometimes some people do not sleep, so why I cannot sleep, why I cannot sleep, that kind of thing. Try it. And then the more variations of human emotions, watch how the cooked grains will manifest your emotions, the vibrations, what it means. You can visually see it, right? I mean, back in so many years ago, I read a book of Dr. Emoto, Japanese, the doctor who experimented with the frozen water crystal. And they had a microscope, right? So they can see the result from my microscope. But you and I don't have the access of microscope. I find the cooked grains would be the best ingredients to experiment in these kind of things. And you can see visually. We can hear, we can read, we can talk about it. But unless, at least to me, unless I saw it in my own eyes, the differences of the vocabulary that carries different vibrations, finally, I got it. I mean, my brain knew, but my heart was bypassing it. Okay, didn't strike it. But when I saw that, I just had to feel. The poor grains has to go through such a suffering, right? Especially the hate jar. I have so much compassion to this. Now that I understood why these wise people were always saying, love yourself, love your neighbors. Finally, I got it. That was a huge lesson for me. Just simple experiment with the grains. And then it just came to my brain and my heart day after day after day. And I realized that I've got to share this with you because it is so impacting experiment to me. So when people go to a therapist, sometimes I saw some documentary, they ask you to punch the pillow when you are angry. That works, right? Because you release the anger feelings. See, a lot of people, I see people with cancers, and then all of them, whatever the reason was, the main reason, the reason of their anger is different. But when they have this anger, they keep them themselves, not release it. They don't talk about it. They don't yell. They don't cry, nothing. They just keep it inside. You imagine you put the vibrations inside of your body. I hate, I hate, I hate, I hate, I hate, I hate. It keeps fermenting in the body. Look what it does, this grains, pour the hot water on it. Just in 2 weeks, they showed you what the difference between love and hate manifestation. You can't imagine what it does for you when you suppress the feeling of all this negativities inside of you. Our body has to express. They will say, they've had it, I need your attention. And our human body, of course, I understand that we can reverse it. Like Dr. Emoto's case too, I read. All kinds of people, vast number of people went into the stinky some lake they preyed upon. So Dr. Emoto took the sample of water before the praying and after praying. Before you saw how unhappy and ugly the molecules are. After praying, how beautiful they have become. Same thing we saw when you do experiment your own, you realize that is so true. How powerful love is. I'm not here to try to lecture you, but I'm so excited about this experiment that I have done. So I could not contain, and I overdid it, I guess, right? But anyway, I strongly recommend you to do the experiment and feel yourself and see yourself, the differences, and then apply to everyday life. And I really learned a lot from this small experiment. So until next time I see you, you take care.